guys, it's Izzy here, and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up, showing you all the books I read in the month of August. So if you want to check out any of my full reviews of any of these books, they will all be down in the pinned comment down below. And you can check out my blog, and that is where I do the full review of my books, and the blog is always down in the description box. I would love if y'all could check it out, because I do spend quite some time working on my blog posts, and then the ones in the pinned comment are just my Goodreads reviews. Let's get into this video. So the first book that I finished in August was a carryover from July, and that is A Different Kind of Fire, a novel by Sue Ann Schaefer. So this is set in the post-Civil War America in western Texas, which is still very much the frontier at this time in history. So we have our character Ruby, who has just turned 18, so she has been betrothed to Bismarck, who she does love. It's not like it's some random man who she's never met. She's grown up with him, she loves him, but there's always a but. She wants to pursue a career in the arts. Now she did go to college in Texas for 1 year to be a teacher, which was common for women to do at the time. And she doesn't want to be a teacher, she wants to be an artist, and there's nowhere really in Texas for her to do that. So she does apply to a school in Philadelphia to learn more and expand her knowledge in the arts. So Bismarck knows that she's doing this, but he's not really thinking that she's going to get in or anything, and it turns out she does get in. So Ruby, our character, she goes to Philadelphia. She doesn't only learn about art, but she learns more about herself and about the world around her, because obviously the Eastern Seaboard in general is like the powerhouse of America, where so much is happening and things are moving forward. The Industrial Revolution is happening. Women are trying to get the right to vote and just rights in general. So much is happening, and it's so different from living out on a ranch in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So her life is just changing. She doesn't know she wants to be with Bismarck, because that's all she's ever known. So going somewhere new and finding out there's all these new and different things in the world, new people that she hadn't met, it just changes everything. We're going to talk about first what I did like about this book. So I do think Sue Ann Schaefer, she is from Texas, and she based a lot of this on her ancestors who were pioneers. And I do think Sue Ann Schaefer knew what she was talking about when writing this book, and she did a very good job. You could tell that she really knew the times, and yeah, she did very well with that. And the setting, I loved the time period, because I had never read anything set in America during the late 1800s, Victorian times. I have read stuff set in England and in Europe, but never America. For me, I just felt like the romances in this book were very rushed. It was just they meet and then they go have sex. Like there wasn't any building, but it acted like there was, but there wasn't. And then for about the first 30% of this book, I feel like it dragged on, and I dreaded picking up the book. Y'all know I don't do enough books. Maybe one day I will, but if I start something, I have to finish it, and that's with anything, not just reading. So it just dragged on for about the first 30%. But after I got past that, it did get better, and it was moving quicker. I mean, we have a 26-year time jump in this book at one point. So yeah, things do start moving quickly towards the end, and that is really nice. But I gave this book I think it was like a 3.75. So on Goodreads, I marked it as a 3 because I'm stupid and didn't be like, oh, I round that over to a 4. So that's what I rated A Different Kind of Fire. So our next book of the month was a comic book, because I was like, I didn't read from August 1st to 6th because I was in Baltimore and DC, and I didn't pick up a book at all. That's usually how it is on vacation for me. I don't know why when I was in Cincinnati and Cleveland I actually read, but when I'm in Florida, when I'm in the Mid-Atlantic, I just don't read. I don't know. So I finished that book when I got back, and then I started this one, which is volume 2 in the DC Universe Rebirth series. So this is obviously about Batman, and it is I Am Suicide. So I do think this comic does show deeper emotion to Batman and Catwoman. That they're just not these superheroes. They do have stories behind them of why they are what they are and just how they got there, and then obviously their relationship. And I really like that it did show that they're human too, even if they do have superhuman abilities, that they have emotions and feelings as well. Now, I don't give ratings to graphic novels. I used to, but now I don't like give it the same amount of ratings that I would give an actual novel, so I do not give these. So moving on to the book that I just finished, and that was Jane Eyre. So this is my cloth-bound edition of Jane Eyre, and then I got another edition, this edition, because I didn't want to annotate in my cloth-bound edition, so I bought just a cheap one on Amazon, and I think this cover is very beautiful. And I don't know if this is supposed to be Jane Eyre, but the gold necklace and all fits the description in this book perfectly, so I don't know if this is supposed to be her or not. So as you can see, I did tab it quite a bit. So I thought we read just bits and pieces of Jane Eyre in high school, but I went and asked one of my friends who was in that English class with me, and she said we didn't read any of it, but we did watch bits and pieces of the movie, so I did get confused with that. So if you don't know, Jane Eyre is by Charlotte Bronte, I didn't say that, who is a Victorian time author. At this time, apparently this was like a very common trope, a governess. I read that, so I'm not completely sure, but I read that in an article that the governess trope was very common for, I think this was the 1840s or 50s. It takes place in the 40s, or yeah, 1847. So this was right in the middle, or basically kind of the start of Victorian times. Queen Victoria had been on the throne for 11 years at that point. I think it said 48. My memory gets scoured on my phone. England was growing in feminism and whatnot. We had suffrages again. We had a queen on the throne. And just, yeah, times were changing. And I think Jane Eyre is a very feminist book. And I do like Jane as a character. I think she really pushes the norms of the time. So Jane was born to two parents, obviously, and they died when she was very young from fever, sickness, something like that. So she got sent to live with an uncle, Uncle Reed. Uncle Reed passed away when she was young as well. So she was left with her aunt, who is not the blood relative, but was the uncle's wife. So, and the three children of the aunt, I think it was Georgia, something with a G, Eliza, something with an E, and John. This could be wrong, because they're only there for a little bit in the book. She is left with them, and she's not treated very well by them. I mean, I can see why they don't treat her well, but also at the same time, I can see Jane's side of it. Because Jane isn't an easy child. She is very difficult. I don't think that's any reason to hate a child, though, but I can see why. She does put a hard time and stresses her aunt out. Yeah, her aunt is not a nice person at all, and Jane wants to find a way to get out of this. She gets sick one night. At these times would be considered sick, but now she's had like a nightmare apparently where it says she saw a ghost. So I don't know if we consider that a nightmare or she actually saw a ghost, because again, this was like Gothic times, and that was popular to have like ghost vampires and all that kind of stuff in novels, witches, whatnot. She gets sick one night, and the doctor comes, and she starts, I'm sorry about the dog barking, I can't do anything about that, because my dog, if she starts barking, she's not going to stop. So she tells the doctor all of her problems, how she is really depressed basically and doesn't want to be there. She's only like 10 years old, or I think she's 8 years old actually, so she's very young, and she tells him all of her problems. So he's like, do you have any other family you could go to? She's like, I've heard I have other family, but they're very poor, so she doesn't go to them. So he's like, maybe you can get yourself an education. So he goes and talks to her Aunt Reed about it, and Jane does get sent away to a boarding school, but this is something Jane wanted. It's not like they're sending her away. With this, I kind of got Harry Potter vibes, and I also got Cinderella vibes as well in this story. I don't know if that's common, but I kind of just got those vibes. So she goes to this boarding school, she learns about herself, she learns to make friends, And making friends, I think, is good for her because she's never known love in her life. She's never had, her family never loved her or anything, which is very sad. So she does make friendships with one of the students, a teacher, and all that. So we go through the 8 years of Jane being there. So then when it comes time for her to leave the school, she goes to Thornfield Hall and becomes a governess to a girl from the continent, Adele, and she becomes her governess. Jane may fall in love with one of the people there, but okay, we're going to talk about what I liked and didn't like in this story. So I do think Bronte is a brilliant writer, and it was a very beautiful novel, but again, it was so long. As you can see, this copy is, the story itself was like 500 pages, and it didn't need to be. I felt like this plot was very pointless. Again, at this time, at the time it came out, it could have been really popular tropes and all, but now I'm just like, I don't care about this plot. I just didn't care about it at all. And I feel bad reviewing a book like this, because it is obviously, if we're still talking about this 150 years later, Bronte was obviously doing something right, but I just didn't like it. That was the thing I didn't like, or that I did like her writing, but I felt like she dragged on, and I didn't care for the plot. Now I gave it a 3 stars originally, but now I think it was more of like a 2.5. That's just how I felt about it. So now I'm just going to tell you about the books that I'm currently reading, and the first one being The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. We have another Leslie Walton book right up there. I didn't realize they were by the same person, and then I was reading about the author and saw that. So this book is for the Books of Friends book club. Now they already did the live show, but I've just been so behind because, as I said, I didn't read the first week in August. So I am kind of late, and I don't know if I'm going to write a review for this since it wasn't in my original TBR, but I am really enjoying this book, and I do think it is going to be a 5 out of 5 stars for me. But let me tell you, it took 115 pages to get to the life of Ava Lavender, basically. All before was just about her family, which I do love generational tales, and I feel like this is more of a generational tale than just about Ava Lavender, which generational tales are my favorite, so I am completely okay with that. Now my Sunday read for this month is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I am rereading the Harry Potter series and annotating it. There's my McGonagall, I can never say that, but bookmark. And I am really enjoying this. I can't wait to get a Prisoner of Azkaban because that's my favorite one. But yes, so I am enjoying going back and annotating these books, and this is very nostalgic, bringing me back to my childhood. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. Bye guys!